following announcement has been paid for by the new Howl Order.
Whether the team has given us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, had a chance to watch the film with the mob. Before we can put that nice, pretty bow on the Week 10, 29-26 loss to the Seattle Seahawks, we must first digest everything that transpired and then move on to Week 11. Can I be brutally honest? You know what? I'll save that for our first look at the Giants. I'll save that for later. Games like these, when I watch the film, these are the ones that frustrate me the most because you're so close, yet you're so far away. And it's games like these in particular that kind of point that out and hammer that point home even further. You want to be able to say a play here, a play there, and we would have won the game. And that's exactly that was exactly the case in this game. However, we say that too often with this team, and that's the problem. And when you're having the same conversations over and over again, those ones in particular, you have to start looking at the coaching staff, which is what we've been doing for quite some time now here in Washington. But when you play as many close games as we do, and you lose as many close games as you do, you would think there would be some attention to detail. There would be some things that would be done in a much tighter, manner. You would think that we would be more efficient in certain areas because, hey, we've built up a callus here. We've been in enough of these positions. We've been in enough of these close ball games. We know how to get it done, and we just haven't. And, even though our coach has told us over and over again, it's about the young quarterback and his development, he's ready, and the rest of the team isn't. And that's the part that right now is so damn frustrating. Now, he's got his shit that he has to work on too. But what a frustrating game to watch. So, upon further review, let's start with the offense. And the little lull that they had, keep in mind, we scored on the first two possessions of the game. It was 9-3 right out of the gates. And then the offense sort of went to sleep. And we didn't score again until the third quarter. Okay? And by the time we scored again, we were down in the game 16-9 when we scored again. So we went from leading 9-3 to down 16-9. So it was a quite a while before we managed to get in the scoring range again. So in that time frame, in that period where we were struggling, it was about not converting on third downs. And we actually weren't bad on third downs in the game, but there were just little misses in the game that are frustrating, very avoidable. There's one play where on a third down or second down where Sam is going to take a shot down the field and then there's pressure in his face. He can't get the throw off. And he's got an open receiver. There's a second down in which he checks it down to Alex Arma, but he's got Terry McLaurin open on a comeback for 12 yards in a first down. He instead takes Alex Arma for a 4-yard gain. The first read was a rail route up the sideline to Logan Thomas. Jamal Adams has that covered like a blanket. So then his progression should have naturally taken him to Terry next, who was literally next, right next to Logan Thomas in terms of you read it out as rail route, not there. Your head goes right over to the next thing, and Terry's right there on the comeback. And it's within the timing and rhythm. Sam looks at him, but he panics. He sees a flash of color. He just got sacked on the previous third down, right? So he sees a flash of color. Even though that guy was going to be blocked, he panicked. He threw it to Alex Arma, right? There's another opportunity. There's a 3rd and like 14, and he checks it down to Antonio Gibson, but they dial up a shot play that if the safety comes up, right, there's going to be an opening behind him. There were 2 safeties deep, but they ran one of the receivers right at the safety and hooked him up to entice that safety to come up to give you. It's sort of like the play against New England last week, where Terry had the entire left side of the field essentially all the way to the pylon to work with, and Sam left it short because that safety got sucked up on the opposite side of the field, and Terry had one-on-one with the opposite safety, and he was running away from him. Jabril Peppers, you remember that play? It was a similar play that EB drew up on 3rd and 14. And Sam panicked. He had great protection. A flash of color comes. There's a little bit of pressure in his face, just a smidge. But when you've been sacked 2 times already, and all you keep hearing people say is, get rid of the football, get rid of the football, find your check down, find an incompletion. This is what happens. This is what I've been trying to tell you guys. Stop bitching about sacks. We don't want them. Protect him better. But if you keep hammering into his head that you have to find incompletions, you have to check it down, you have to get rid of the ball, then he's going to start performing like a robot. And those big plays that we know he's capable of, you're going to see less and less of them. Why? Because when there's pressure or there's the threat of pressure, he's going to look to find an incompletion. He's going to look to find the check down instead of looking for the big play, which is what you should want him to do. I keep talking about that. That's human nature. That's how the human brain works. When people keep shoving the same shit down your throat and keep rewiring your brain to think, get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball, find a check down, find an incompletion. What do you think he's going to do? Last week, he rolled out to his left. Byron Pringle is standing right there in front of him at the sidelines for a 14-yard gain, and he throws it over his head by 6 yards. Why? He was finding an incompletion instead of finding a wide open receiver. He's going to keep doing that if people keep telling him, find an incompletion. It is up to EB to tell him, look, I don't want you taking sacks, but I also don't want you to stop being you. There's a fine line between taking sacks and holding on to the ball, but there's so few opportunities in this league for big plays. A lot of you don't understand that, because you can have a great drive and then you have one penalty and you've worked your ass off on this drive, and now the shit's gone to hell in a handbasket. And a sack can do that. A sack is equivalent to a penalty. It's even worse because at least with a penalty, you get the down over. With a sack, you lose the yards and you don't get the down over. I get it. Sacks suck. And you don't want your quarterback taking them. But this is why we need to protect Sam. We don't need to neuter Sam. We don't need to reel Sam in. I'm not trying to reel Patrick Mahomes in. Just protect him better. Andy Reid isn't going to tell Patrick Mahomes, don't run around like your head is cut off, right? Don't run around back there like a chicken with your head cut off and make these crazy plays that show up on SportsCenter and Undisputed and First Take. Don't stop doing that shit. You know what we'll do? We're going to fortify the line. We'll go out and we'll sign Brown, and we'll sign this guy, and Tooney, and we'll go sign all these. We'll draft Creed Humphrey. We'll go do all of this shit. We'll get the kid from Tennessee, Smith. We'll put him at guard. We'll do all of this stuff. We're going to protect you. You don't stop being you. That's the answer. The answer isn't get rid of the football, find your check down, find an incompletion. That's not the answer. The answer is be you. We'll figure out the rest of the shit. So when on 3rd and 14, with De'Ami Brown screaming across the field, open one-on-one with the safety that he's running away from, and Sam doesn't see it, but instead checks it down to Antonio Gibson because there's somewhat pressure. It's more about color than anything else. He just saw a flash of color and he checks it down. You can't be mad. I saw a lot of that in this game. Sam trying to, and I told y'all that in the moment, if you were in the mob, and I told you directly after the game on the post-game show, I said, Sam looks sped up. And EB told us last week during the press conference that when you're on the road in an environment like Seattle, everything kind of feels a bit sped up. Sam looked sped up in this game. And that's to be expected. It was his first experience in an environment in the NFL like that. He's been in college environments that have been probably even more, more shocking to the senses. Harder to deal with, the noise and the environment and the fans feeling like they're right on top of you. College environments are way worse than the NFL. If you've gone to any good ones, then trust me, the NFL isn't going to scare you with some of these venues. Seattle's unique because it gives you like a college-like atmosphere. So that was one of the things that jumped out at me was I saw opportunities that were left on the field because Sam was doing the responsible thing. The thing that everybody's been telling him he's got to do. Find incompletions. Find your check down. Get rid of the football. Don't take sacks. He wasn't even going to take sacks in a lot of these instances. He just panicked because this is what's being beaten into his head. So you can't then be mad when the opportunity comes and there's just a flash of color and he's been told, hey, when that clock goes off, get rid of the football. Instead of saying, hey, Sam, be you, bro. It's our job to scheme it up, to coach these guys to protect you. If we got to go max protect, it's our job to make sure you're comfortable back there. But don't stop being you. You want the big plays, you got to hunt those big plays. You can't be Alex Smith. Like, some guys aren't built for big plays because their mentality isn't to make a big play. Alex Smith isn't looking to push the ball down the field, or wasn't, looking to push the ball down the field. It's not his mentality. It's not in his DNA. I'm trying to work the field. I'm trying to find the open, get the ball. Like, some guys, you can't coach that, by the way. Either you have it or you don't. Like, either that's your mentality, either that's your mindset, or it's not. You got to hunt the big play. Sam wants the big play. And they're trying to coach the shit out of him. Or not they, some people are. A lot of you are. Let's call it what it is. A lot of you are bitching about, hey, you got to get rid of the football. Hey, can't take a sack. So when he checks it down, instead of looking for the big play that may be there, you can't be mad. I saw a lot of that in this game where I'm like, bro, you just turned down an opportunity. Why? And he's like, this is what they're telling me to do. Find an incompletion. Don't take a sack. When that becomes priority instead of making the big play, we got a damn problem on our hands. So I'm going to tell you this, like I tell everybody else, scared money don't make money. If you scared of taking a damn sack, you ain't going to never make a damn big play. Give me a dude that don't give a damn about a sack, that's looking to make. Patrick Mahomes, like, you don't give a damn about no sack. I've seen him take some of the worst sacks at the most inopportune times. He don't give a damn about no sack. That's how he makes all those plays. Joe Burrow ain't thinking about no damn sack. That's how he makes those plays. Yeah, he gonna get sacked sometimes. That's the cost of doing business. Yeah, 44 sacks is a lot through, 9 games. I'm aware, okay? Trust me, I'm not looking for this guy to get sacked. My thing is, don't tell him to stop being Sam. Fix it. However you got to do it. If you got to aid Sam with the quick game, the screen, this is what I've been advocating. Don't tell Sam to stop being Sam. You fix it. Don't change his mentality. You fix it. So screen game, quick game, max protect. Find ways to create more time for Sam. Run the damn football. That helps too. So that was one thing that stood out to me. There were some opportunities that were definitely left on the field. Upon further review, I've been really defensive when it's come to the defensive tackles, specifically Daron Payne. They're not rushing well. They're just not. They're not in sync. The things that they're doing aren't making a ton of sense. They're not rushing with rush lane integrity. So what's abundantly clear through 2 games without Montez Sweat? 2 things, and this is also upon further review. So I'm going to kill 2 birds with this one stone. What's abundantly clear without 90 and 99? 1, you have to now rush as one. You're not talented enough up front for everybody to be doing their own thing. If we got 4 guys trying to win individually like we used to when Tez and Chase were here, we're not ever going to get any sacks because you're not going to win with Casey Toohill. James Smith-Williams is about to be out, so it's going to be even worse now. It's probably going to be F.A. F.A. Obata, Casey Toohill, and you know what? F.A. might not be worse. I actually like F.A. But anyway, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, Fedarian Mathis, John Ridgeway, Andre Jones Jr., and KJ Henry. Like, if you're rushing with some combination of those 8 guys on the field. And if James Smith-Williams if he gets back healthy at any point this season, 9, right? Whatever combination, it doesn't really matter what combination you put on the field, it's not going to be one that scares anybody. And in most instances, you can double team one or the other in terms of the 2 interior defensive linemen. You can, however they decide to align is up to them. If one of them volunteers to take the double team, so be it. But if they don't, the center is going to have an opportunity to pick which one do I want to help on. Who do I deem the biggest threat on this particular snap? Just based off of how they rush. Anyway, they got to rush better. And, one of the big excuses I kept using, they're getting double teamed. Even when they're not getting double teamed, they're not winning. Daron's not winning. Jonathan Allen's not winning. And they're not using, to me, what has made them 2 of the more feared interior defensive linemen. And that's their quickness. Allen keeps trying to use that Reggie White hump move. He keeps trying to grab guys and just bully them. And that's not who he is. You get them off balance by making them fear your quickness. And then when they go to open up to adjust to your quick, that's when you can run their ass over. That's what used to make Jonathan Allen. Daron Payne's swim move, when he is decisive right off the snap, it's one of the best in the NFL from the interior. And he had a win in this game with that swim on a run play where I said, hey, man, what's up, bro? I ain't seen you since last year, man. Hell, I ain't seen you since the Denver game. Where you been at? That's the Daron that I fell in love with last year. This dude this year that's trying spin moves and spinning in place. Remember when he was mic'd up and he tried to spin move and the guard, I think it was Lindstrom, just kind of pushed him and he was like, I'm going to put that one back in my back pocket. And Lindstrom was like, yeah, you do that. Like, bro, let's just go back to the bread and butter. Set him up. And then get him with that quick swim. Anyway, I haven't lost confidence in them. They're just not having a good go of it right now. And the other thing, upon further review, without 90 and 99, you can't stop the run consistently against a good run game, a good front a good offensive line and a really good back. You can't stop the run game with our base 4-2-5 front. Can't do it. Seattle had their way with us running the ball. And that's what I remember when they first got traded. I told you I'm more concerned with our run defense than I am our pass. And then New England really didn't have any success. Well, it's New England. They stink. You can't base anything that you do. Just like this Giants game, you can't base shit off of what the Giants are doing. They stink. We can go out and score 80 points this week. That shit won't move me. It's the Giants. Everybody's doing that to the Giants. Okay? What would be refreshing is if we took our turn and did it. But that's not usually how we operate. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is Seattle, they're capable. They got a talented offensive line, and they got talented running backs, and we saw them on full display, and we had trouble. They were gashing us in the run game, and it was bad at times. I felt helpless watching that shit sometimes. And I remember feeling that way in the moment, like, bro, we got to go to the Cinco. We can't keep staying in it. And I get it. They got 3 receivers on the field. I don't care. They're spreading us out. They're gun running us to death, and we don't have an answer. We can't stop this run game without. I think a lot of people really underestimated how good Montez Sweat, particularly, but him and Chase were in the run game. That was never lost on me. A lot of people would always get up in arms about sacks, and yeah, we want those, and those move the needle. But I was like, man, at least I know you ain't running that bitch on us. They ran on a 2nd and 15, on a 1st and 15. So we had the drive after we scored the touchdown to tie it up at 19. They had a false start penalty that backed them up to 1st and 15. And I'm like, hey, fellas, this is the opportunity that you're looking for right here. You want to get off the field? Because I felt like, all right, we got into a moment. We got into a rhythm. And we get the ball back with a chance to take the lead. We're going to take this lead. And ultimately, whoever has this ball last is going to win this game. And had we got to stop at 19-19, which we had 2 chances. When they got that false start penalty and it was 1st and 15, that was our shot. They ran a jet sweep to Tyler Lockett. And if that was, and they did not block F.A. Obata. And I remember, I said this to the mob on the film study. If that's Montez Sweat, that's a 4-yard tackle for loss. He was one of the best in the league at deciphering, diagnosing, and destroying those jet sweeps when he wasn't blocked. And you can just visualize how many times they didn't block Tez on those jet sweeps. He jumps up the field, and he's so effing long, right? Pause. You can't get around him. He's got these limbs that extend for days. He grabs your ass and slings you down, and it's a 4 or 5 yard loss. Instead, it's F.A. Obata, and good old F.A. can't get there. Just missed him, and he runs for like 10, 12 yards on 1st and 15. Just like that. Out of 1st and 15 into 2nd and manageable. It's like a 10-yard gain to 2nd and 5. So you have essentially that 5-yard penalty, they erased that and made it feel like a 1st and 5 5-yard 1st and 10 5-yard completion. He gave up 10 on the ground. And then on the next play, they ran it with Kenneth Walker III, and he got 7 yards and a 1st down. And in 2 plays, you erased 1st and 15 with 2 runs. We don't have an answer in the run game when we have our base defense out there, 4-2-5. Can't do it. We can't stop the run like that. Not against good teams that can run it. That's abundantly clear right now. So, I don't know. Dallas hasn't been a great rush offense team. Neither has the Giants the next 2 weeks, but they got dynamic backs. And if our guys can't get off of blocks, Saquon can hurt us, and so can Tony Pollard. So, and Dallas has the line. I don't know about the Giants, but Dallas definitely has the line to do it. And the Dolphins, I shudder to think of what they're going to do, getting to the perimeter on our defense. Devin A-Chain will be back. It could get ugly. They could rush for 200 yards on us in that game. I am not looking forward to it. Upon further review, we have to do a better job of cluing in on what the opposition is telling us. Jamin Davis, I'll give you some examples in this game. Jamin Davis had a chance to, this is a drive in which Seattle ended up getting a field goal, right? And I said this earlier, and so let me just clean this up. I said there were two opportunities to get that stop when it was 19-19. That was the first one. It was 1st and 15, and they got 2 runs and got the first down. And the last, obviously, the second one was the 4th and 5 completion or pass interference on Juice. We had our chances. We get that stop, we're gonna win this game. There's no doubt in my mind. But of course, we didn't get stopped. But back to what I was saying. We have to do a better job of cluing in on what the opposition is telling us they want to do. DK Metcalf was running slants all game long. And somehow Benjamin St. Juste still thought he was going to run an out route. He's playing with outside leverage. On that key 3rd and 4 at the end of the game with the game tied at 26, that first slant that he runs for 17 yards, bro, so we kept a DK slant-o-meter as we were watching the film. He ran 4 slants prior to that. What did you think was coming here, including the 4th and 5 where you got flagged for PI? What did you think was coming, bro? And he said after the game he thought he was going to run an out route because of the time. Bro, they haven't ran an out route all game with DK. It's been slants. And he gave him the inside. It was like stealing. Jamin Davis had a chance to blow up a screen. He sees the screen. He's standing there. Will Dissly is blocking. We've seen this screen a million times. You've seen it in your sleep. You know it's coming. And he stands there and waits till he gets blocked. And before he just take, the better linebackers, the guys that we salivate over every week, the Fred Warners and his tag team partner, Dre Greenlaw, and, some of the better guys in the league that we watch and we go, damn, we need one of those, right? They fired a gun. That screen is a 5-yard loss. They see the shit coming, and as soon as Will Dissly catches that bitch, he's on the ground. Jamin waits and waits and waits until the guard comes up to the second level and then pushes him past the play, and Dissly catch. This is a 2nd and 10 screen that if Jamin blows it up, it's 3rd. The drive's over. They're telling you they're running a screen. You see it happen in front of you, and you still wait. Why? Why? Upon further review, Chris Paul struggled in this game. Chris Paul struggled in this game. I'm not telling you that he's worse than Sadiq or, Gates, whatever. He struggled in this game. He did not move his feet well at all. A lot of the pressures in this game that Sam either felt that were real or they were pressures that in his mind seemed to be developing were from Chris Paul. The interior didn't have their best going. I'll just say the tackles actually played well in this game. Both of them. The interior was actually the problem in this game. Cosme gave up a sack by him and Wiley not doing a good enough job of passing off a TE game, right? You had another sack given up by Chris Paul. He just got beat. Leonard Williams just beat his ass across his face. No move, nothing. Just beat him. Upon further review, I love that we're getting the running backs involved. I want to see more of that. They have to get Jahan Dotson the football. They got to get him the ball. And by the way, because there was a lot of this. Terry McLaurin sucks. Terry's not a real number one. Upon further review, Terry was open in the game. just so we're clear on that. He was open enough. Okay. He was open. So there's that too. They got to do a better job of getting Jahan the ball. I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. It's just frustrating to watch it week after week. We have these same conversations, and then he has a 2-game stretch where he's got 12 catches, and he looks like he's back. Everybody's excited, and then back to no catches. What are we doing here, man? It's great to have Antonio Gibson with 6 catches. It's great to have Brian Robinson with 6 catches. That's awesome. How about one of your best receivers actually touches the football? Like, what are we doing here, man? Running backs touching it, that's cool. You took advantage of some matchups. Excellent. I love it. Let's get Jahan Dotson the football, please. Let's not play that game. And Sam even said, on his press conference today, I got to do a better job of getting guys involved early. And I knew who he was talking about. I knew who he was talking about. He's not going to say anything, but this feels like a Jahan getting, 3-4 touches in the first quarter type game, if we're being honest. This feels like Terry in the Atlanta game. Remember he had 6 targets in the first quarter? This feels like that kind of game for Jahan. But why do we have to play this game? Why do we have to play the catch-up game every week? Every other week. It's frustrating. Upon further review, this was Jack's best game as a play caller that I can remember, maybe since 2020 Pittsburgh game. Like it was that good. Jack gave us a chance. Unfortunately, the execution wasn't always its best, but I can't put this in the lap of Jack this time. Doesn't mean I don't want him gone. Okay. But Jack blitzed his ass off, and these were some of his better blitzes. We were actually getting home. And he blitzed in every meaningful situation. There weren't too many where you go, Jack, why are we sitting back here, bro? Every major 3rd and 5 or, whatever down it was, we came with pressure. Some of the third downs that we forced, punts on and field goals, Jack brought the house. Cam Curl comes scot-free up the middle, and he's got to throw the football away. On the 3rd down, and 4 at the end of the game, Jack brought pressure. He brought pressure. And Benjamin St. Juste thought he was running an out cut for whatever reason. Thought he was running an out-breaking route towards the sideline. Why? I don't know. Upon further review, we cannot tackle in the secondary. This could turn into a very long year. Now that you don't have the front 7 or really your front as this group that causes so much pressure on the opposition, now that we just are basic up front, there's going to be more pressure put on this secondary to be better, and I just don't think they're capable. I would have loved to have seen Forbes in this game and what he might have done, but we'll never know. We can't play that game. But Quan Martin was the guilty party on the 27-yard catch and run by DK Metcalf to set up the game-winning field goal. That was Quan Martin. It wasn't Percival. And we all know Percival was responsible for the 64-yard catch and run for the touchdown. But that was Quan Martin. What the hell Quan was doing on that one? I don't know. Maybe he was hitting the Quan as he was diving. He damn sure wasn't looking at DK Metcalf. He just dove. Then Percival shows up late to the party, as usual, and he stops. DK's back is turned. He has no idea what's about to happen, and Percival just breaks down. You should be running through this clown, and you break down and allow this man to. Then he gets on his back like he's Genuine and it's Pony, and he carries him for another 10 yards. If you would have just tackled him instead of stopping, he would have been tackled 10 yards ago. If Quan Martin tackles him where he caught it, it would have been a 53-yard field goal. Instead, He missed. Then Percival ran and he stopped. And then he jumped on his back and he took his ass for a ride like a little kid. He gave him the kind of ride I give my 2-year-old, right? Get on daddy's back. Whee! Dragged his ass down to the 26-yard line. Juice missed tackles. The only guy I trust in the secondary to get anybody, Danny Johnson is stumbling, bumbling, falling all over the place on the 64-yard touchdown run or catch and run. The only guy I trust in our secondary right now is Kendall Fuller to get anybody on the ground. Shit is pathetic. And yes, Miss Perry, that's a pause on the pony, right? Shouldn't pause it, but it is a pause. That was such a winnable game on so many levels. And yes, upon further review, the first kick that was missed, the extra point, that was on Cam Cheeseman. The snap was high and Trust didn't get a chance to turn the laces. He kicked the laces, and that's why the ball veered off to the side. We make too many mistakes. You don't need me to tell you that, but again, this is one of those games that just drives me nuts watching it back because the mistakes are avoidable. The opportunities are there. Last one. Deron Payne had a chance to catch an interception. He didn't. We can't afford to have those not be interceptions. But that's who we are. Kendall Fuller had a chance to punch the football out on an unsuspecting Jake Bobo. Just went and tackled him. That's who we are. We're not looking to get the ball out. They are, we aren't. They stripped it away from Sam. We're not even thinking like that. It's not who we are. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to in other news. We heard from Ronald. We heard from Sam. We heard from a bevy of players in the locker room. Terry, Brian Robinson Jr., Casey Tuhill. That's one of their favorites now. Casey's getting some camera time every week. I think there was one more guy that I can't think of right now. But let's get to the injury report first. Not that we even give a damn, but this is what we do, okay? Let's get to the injury report from both teams. We start with the good guys. Just like last week, not really a lot to see here. Jonathan Allen and Kendall Fuller, you see that it's the same as last week. Non-injury related. They'll be back at practice tomorrow. Alex Armour with the hamstring, a little concerning. I was getting really excited about him getting more and more snaps. That's not good. And Antonio Gibson toe, we've been here before with his toe. He's not going to miss the game, but it does affect him. He just runs so damn hard. I think that's why he's putting so much pressure on his toe. He runs. I've already given you what he looks like to me. He looks like a dude that used to be 300 pounds. Like he used to be fat, and now he's lost weight, and he still runs like he's heavy. And he's putting a lot of pressure on his toe, man. James Smith-Williams, he's going to miss some time. And Ronald even said they're concerned. They should be. It looked bad on the field when he did it. He's going to miss this game. And he may be put on IR when it's all said and done. We'll see. Juice with an illness. It's early in the week. Hopefully it subsides because we can't afford to not have him out there. But you always got to be careful with those illnesses. And then Curtis Samuel toe limited. If he's limited on Wednesday, I feel damn good about him playing. And I think he finished the game. So feel really good about him continuing to play. So this is a pretty positive. Minus Alex Armour and James Smith-Williams' hamstrings. An illness for Benjamin St. Juice. Keep an eye on that. But the toes, I think we're going to be fine. So not a ton here to be overly concerned about. Giants, however, do have a lot to be concerned about, but they're the Giants. And when you're 2-8, this is the type of shit that happens. If we're 2-8 and we suck and I got a hamstring and I could give it a go, probably not going to give it a go. That's just how it goes when you get to that point of the season and you suck. Jalen Hyatt and Adoree Jackson both have concussions. We'll keep an eye on it. I don't know how fresh those concussions are because those could be concussions from last week. If that's the case, then they're probably playing this week. If those are concussions from this Dallas game this past week, probably not going to play. Probably not going to play. Dexter Lawrence, he's fine. As you can see, not injury related. He'll be out there. Evan Neal, ankle. Bobby Okereke, hip. Kayvon Thibodeau, I know he sustained that concussion against Dallas. He's not playing. We're good on him. But Okereke and Evan Neal, keep an eye on those, as well as Jalen Hyatt and Adoree Jackson. So the first 6, minus Dexter Lawrence, are all ones to keep an eye on, if you give a damn. Deonte Banks and Saquon Barkley both have ankle injuries that they sustained against Dallas, but I think they'll play. Saquon came back, finished the game, so we'll see. Tommy DeVito has a shoulder. Cordell Flott, shoulder. Xavier McKinney, rib. Jason Pinnock, Wan'Dale Robinson, Andrew Thomas. I'm shocked that he was limited. I thought Andrew Thomas, I didn't, that game was so bad that I really didn't, like focus into the granular details. So he might have come back in that game. I wouldn't have been able to tell you. I saw him writhing in pain on the ground. I was like, oh, there he is again. He's done. So I said all of that to say this. The Giants are banged up. That's an understatement. And they stink. So there's that as well. We heard from the head coach, Ronald Rivera. And this was a pretty, for a 4-6 outfit, this was pretty positive. Like when a guy is somewhat on his coaching deathbed, the questions are supposed to get more and more aggressive, and he's supposed to be more and more standoffish. This kind of felt like a honeymoon phase. Like this was year 2, and he's turning this thing around. Like these were some softball questions. Like, what are we doing here? I get it. Ron's a nice guy, but I was like, guys, you guys are being too nice right now. I'm not in the mood for this shit. Hey, Sam's having a lot of nice things said about him in the national media and, giving Ron all the shit that he wants to talk about the quarterback because he can't talk about shit else because everything else sucks. Don't keep giving him quarterback questions. Oh, Brian Robinson. Oh, was this an evaluation you guys had when he's coming out of college? Did he catch the football? And Ron's like, you know what? As a matter of fact, it was. Coach Jordan said to me, man, he caught the football really well at his pro day, at his workout. Like, you guys, give me a break. What kind of questions are these? Where's the hard-hitting shit? But really, Ronald didn't say anything that moved the needle for me during this presser. You know what's interesting is they put in a waiver claim for Michael Carter. That was interesting because I would have done the same exact thing. And if it wasn't for those damn meddling Arizona Cardinals, we would have got him. Because it was Arizona, us, and Tampa Bay. Well, we were second in line. And Arizona's ass, as we all know, was one of the worst teams in football last year. So they had first dibs, and we didn't get him. I would have loved to have added a guy like Michael Carter to this offense. But that's such is life. You move on. It is what it is. So, Samuel, on the other hand, they hit him with the, hey man, you've got a lot of numbers right now, and you're doing so well in the national media, and yada yada yada, blah 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 blah. And Sam was like, I don't really care about that shit, man. We ain't winning no games, so I ain't even tripping off that. But you can tell Sam was like, yeah, they on my jock now, huh? He there was a little smirk there, but he also was like, yeah, I don't really care about that. I ain't really noticed. Yes, you did. Stop lying. Anyway, this is what I love about Sam. I love that he doesn't bask in solid performances that don't lead to wins. He wants to win. I love that he continues to grow and develop, and he knows when there were opportunities missed. I love that he keeps talking about, hey, we should have beat that team. I want you to sound like that. He's like, it's a lot of games we lost this season that we felt like we should have won. I want him to keep that same energy. Expect to win. He's like, and the rest of these games, we expect to win these games. You're not going to win them, but I like that you expect to win these games. Good. He talked about wanting to get guys more involved. He talked about what Brian Robinson went up to him and told him before the game, like, bro, if the shit breaks down and you're looking for somebody, I'm the man. I got you. And he said D-Rob told him that like 4 times, and he was like, it paid off. Obviously, you saw what happened during the game. He talked about the De'Ami Brown play. They asked him about that play. And he was like, I trust all of my receivers that if they were in that same position, they would have done the same thing, because he kind of made it seem like, yeah, me and De'Ami got this synchronicity, kind of knew what he was going to do. So I put the ball up. And, so of course, when you say that, then they start, they're like piranhas. They jump all over that shit. Well, if that was another guy, would you have put the ball in the same? Okay, then he had to realize, okay, damn, I can't say, you guys take this shit literal. Okay, let me clarify this for you. I trust all my receivers, and if that was Terry or it was Jahan, I would have put the ball in the same spot, and I trust that they would have went up and got it and did the same thing. He talked about going through the division the second time, because he did it with Philadelphia already. And, he's like, yeah, it's okay. But at the end of the day, you try to anticipate what they're going to do, but you expect them to make some changes if they need to make changes. He's like, the Giants got us last time, so I don't know if they're going to make any changes in that, but you just got to go out and execute. And he's like, yeah, they got us last time, and it was pretty bad. So, we need to be better this time. And he talked about wanting to get some of the receivers involved earlier. I knew exactly who he was talking about. Without saying any names, he made it abundantly clear who he was talking about. I surmise Jahan's going to be involved early and often in this football game. And he talked about his relationship with EB, right? And how they're growing. He's starting to be able to predict what EB is going to call. He said that, EB is so detail oriented. He does a great job of over communicating clarity. Sam didn't say that. Okay. But I just love that line from Eric Bieniemy. It's one of my favorites. And so he's like, there'll be times where I come off the field, or, we're getting ready to get on the field, and he was like, hey, if we get this first down, we're going to take a shot play, right? Here's what we want to get to, and if we get to this is what we're going to do. This is what you need to look for. And so he's like, yeah, he's so thorough in everything that he does. He wants it bad, right? And I think Sam, recognizes how bad EB wants it, and Sam wants it bad. As Ronald has said, or I think it was actually EB that said, Sam takes his work home with him. It means something to him. So Sam's that's my quarterback, man. We just got to start stacking some dubs here. That's it. It's the only thing we're missing now. Stacking some W's. So anyway, I digress. Terry talked about, we get to some of these guys in the locker room. Terry talked about Sam's growth and development. how he doesn't, make the same mistake twice, how they correct things in practice and they see it immediately translate onto the field. What I would like to know is, how's their relationship coming? I want somebody to ask Sam that. I thought somebody was going to ask him that. I thought that's where one of the questions was going. And then they bust a sharp ass U and went straight to EB. I was like, you stinking bastard. I thought you were going to ask the question that I wanted to hear asked. He said, well, we know about, your relationship with, and then I said, okay. Yeah. But how is you and EB? As if we haven't heard that every single damn week. We hear that same question asked. Thought he was gonna. How is your relationship with these receivers coming? That's what I wanted to hear. You didn't even have to get specific. Just blanket. How is your relationship with these receivers coming? Because I feel like they're still not where they need to be yet. Work needs to be done there. And that's natural, right? That takes time developing a rapport with a receiver. Time on task. But anyway, I digress. Terry, talked about he didn't know that Sam was, that high in all of these statistical areas. You know why Terry didn't know? Because he's like, shit, I ain't getting the rock. I ain't eating like CeeDee Lamb or AJ Brown. So I didn't know I know he's spreading the bitch around. I ain't eating good though. So I didn't know he was eating that good. But I mean, that's cool though. But we ain't winning no games, so whatever. Which is what everybody else said. Brian Robinson was like, yeah, that's cool. All these stats are cool. I can have 500 yards rushing. If we don't win, I'm gonna be pissed off. So everybody's on the same page as far as wanting to win. That's the most important thing. So anyway, I digress. Let's get to our first look at the New York Giants. Can I be real with you guys? This is what I was going to say at the top of the show, and I told you I was going to save it for this. I honestly don't give a shit about this game. I'm just being honest with you. This is the least excited I've been for a football game probably since 2019's finale. What was it? 2018's finale against the Eagles at home. The Josh Johnson year. It's the least excited I've been for a game. And the fact that I can, and look, there were plenty of games in 19. Pick a game in 2019 after the first 5. Pick a game. But there was still Dwayne. There was still a reason. And that's why I'm here. There's the only thing that's keeping me going here is NHL. I could give 2 shits about how this game goes. I'm gonna be honest with you. Let me just keep it a buck with you. Because if you win, the Giants suck ass. Danny DeVito is starting at quarterback for them. They don't have any weapons other than Saquon Barkley. They can't throw a forward pass. Their defense is not what they were when we saw them the last time. They traded Leonard Williams. They got a bunch of guys hurt. The Giants are a joke. So if you beat them, whoop did he effing do? You did what you were supposed to do. If you lose to them, you're the worst team in football. Or at least that's what it's going to feel like, because you got swept by the worst team in football. Or at least that's what it feels like, them in Carolina. So there's really no winning this game. The only thing that I am looking forward to is another 60 minutes of Sam Howell slinging the rock around the field. That's it. And even though we're playing the Giants and he probably doesn't need to throw it any more than 30 times, he's probably still going to throw the bitch 43 times in this game because That's what EB knows. So all I'm looking for here is that Sam learned from the first experience against Wink Martindale, because Wink ain't going to stop being Wink. He's going to blitz. He's going to pressure. And especially knowing that this offensive line still ain't shit in his mind. Look, they've made some changes. I don't give a damn. Seattle got to his ass last week. We can do the same. He's going to come after him. And if he hasn't grown enough to be able to pick this shit apart, it'll be evident very early in this game. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Now, if you're not ready for the season to be over quite yet, then you have to beat the Giants. Yay, the Giants. Go get them. You lose to the Giants and the season is over immediately. It's immediately over. Dead. So this is one of those games where, hey, you know what you got to do? Go out and do it. You don't? Who gives a shit? Right? It's over anyway. Right? This whole Ronald Rivera, it's over anyway, right? So, last week against Seattle was like, to me, the last ditch effort. Like that was the last stand. But technically speaking, you beat the Giants. Thanksgiving is your last stand. You have to beat Dallas then at that point. Or Miami. Again, the goal is to get to the bye week at 6-7. Anything north of that, you've done yourself one hell of a job, right? That's not going to happen. That would require you to win 3 in a row, right? To get you to the bye week at 7-6. You're not doing that. You win 2 out of 3, though. That's possible. But you can't do that without beating the Giants first. Who are we kidding? So, because you're not beating both Dallas and Miami. You might be able to beat Dallas or Miami. And again, a lot of shit has to happen. Dolphins have to turn it over like 4 times. We got to turn it over like no times. And we got to score touchdowns. And you probably need like Tyreek Hill to turn his ankle and miss the second. Like you need a lot of shit to happen. All I know is that this game is one of the games that supposed to be one of 6 that you're looking forward to every year because it's family business. This game stinks, man. This, of the rest of the season, of the games remaining on the schedule, even if the season's over, I'm still outside for Sam. The only thing that I'm really looking forward to in this game from Sam is, can he handle the pressure? I'm not like, if Sam went out and stroked these boys for 447, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and we scored 47 points and we rolled these boys, I'd be excited. I'd be like, that's my boy. But I'm like, it's the Giants. They stink. They suck ass. We were supposed to do that shit to them. Now, I'd be excited because we don't do that to anybody. And it would be another step in the right direction for Sam's development. He's now showing consistency and the ability to go back and get some get back against somebody that got him earlier in the season. But everything is qualifying because it's the Giants. So that's my first look at the Giants. They suck. So do we. But we're better than them. We should beat them. If we don't, I don't care. You can smell Ronald's underwear. Let's get to social media maneuvers. Y'all know what it is. I'm a midnight marauder. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. Shout out to all the members of the mob. Shout out to all my Patreon supporters. Can't thank you guys enough for all that you do. So let's get to the comment section. Start with Journey Reed. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "You the man, Lou." No, you the man, Journey, or woman. I'm assuming you're a dude. Whatever. In this environment that we're in, Journey, you rock. I'll just say that. Okay. Appreciate you and all your great content, hard work each week. I appreciate all the support, Journey. I really do. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the support. Pisley Pants, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB. Glad to have you on board, Mob. Y'all know what to do. Show Pisley Pants. What it's like to be a member of the MOBB. Pisley Pants, welcome to the squad. Glad to have you. Got any grapes? Been a member for 26 months. The throw How did to Diami to tie the game. Come on, man. Louie, NHFNO. That throw was bananas. BANANAS, bananas. But are you surprised? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? This doesn't surprise me any. It might surprise you or somebody else who didn't believe, who still might not believe, who still might need to see more. For somebody like myself, Sam does that in his sleep. He's been doing shit like that all year. Let's keep it a buck. Some of these throws, are you kidding me? Imagine what will happen when this man gets true protection up front. Like real stout offensive linemen that can get the job done, keep him clean, and give him time to survey the field. This dude is going to be so hard to deal with. He's going to be a handful. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Juice illness must be sick of effing up. I'm not going to let you do that to Juice, man. I like Juice. He played hard, man. It's not for a lack of effort to try and he made a mental mistake. I really feel like, bro, you just gotta see, this is the problem I have with Juice. Juice is smart. I can tell he's a very intellectually sound guy, right? Listening to him talk, how he goes about his business. I know he's a smart guy. So I expect that to seep its way onto the field in the form of football IQ. So football IQ guys do a great job of understanding what the opposition is trying to do to them and beating them to the punch. That's why I struggle with Jamin Davis, because it's like, you're not the sharpest football IQ guy, are you? You know? But anybody that talks in the third person, I'm a little wary, you know? When a guy says, I just need to play Jamin Davis football, I'm like, but aren't you Jamin Davis? And I just said, I need to play, I got to get back to playing Jamin Davis football. Right. Jamin Davis football. Okay. If you say, anytime you talk in the third person, I'm always a little leery. Anyway, which is why EB not running the ball, I should have known better. Should have known better. When he started talking about Eric Bieniemy, never mind. Leave Juice alone. I'll just say that. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy, Chris. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Thank you for being just such a staunch supporter. I really can't thank you enough, Chris. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who writes, hey, Lou, hope all is well with you and the family. We're getting there, man. Normally, I'm like, yep, all is well. Hope the same can be said for you and yours. That hasn't been the case for the last, 5 days, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. Grateful for the experience at the game in Seattle, except for the loss. And you know what? I know there were a couple of droplets, but the weather held up for the most part. You got to see a really good game. Sam did his thing. All in all, B-Rob, big plays. All in all, I bet it was a pretty solid experience, man. I'm glad you got to experience that. Again, it sucks that you weren't able to bring the dub home, right? But I joke and I kid about, the only thing that matters is bringing home the dub, but really it's enjoying the experience, making it a memorable one. That counts too, right? I'm glad they were able to provide that for you. It would have been even more memorable had they won. He says, the Commanders team stayed at the hotel I was at, and I got a picture with London Fletcher at the hotel. Oh, that's dope. It would have been even better if you would have gotten a picture with a current player, but that's awesome, man. I always struggle with, what hotel the players are staying at and all that good stuff. Because do other people know where they're staying? I always wonder about that. Anyway. Spence Callis. Thank you for being a member for 15 months. Who writes, checkdowns make no sense. Denver won on a PI call. And that's all they were really doing the entire game. If you look at Russell Wilson's numbers, he was checking the bitch down. And that's why I said Sean McDermott didn't need to come with a cover zero blitz 2 plays in a row. You already got done what you were out to get done. You knocked them out of field goal range, and you forced them into a 3rd and 10. So if you just play good defense, keep them inbounds and short of the sticks, they're going to have to attempt a long field goal. You did what you needed to do. He was over-aggressive. He paid for it, right? Checkdowns aren't like the devil, okay? I don't want you guys to think like checkdowns are a necessary evil. You need to take them when they are there, and, things aren't ideal down the field. The defense gets paid too. They make good calls. They guess right too. And so no need to force it. You got to check down. You can get 5-6 yards off of it. Take it. What I'm saying is, what I don't want him to do is turn down opportunities. You should always be working deep to short, right? Not short to deep. And I'm not saying that's what Sam's doing, but Sam isn't going through all of his progressions. And again, a lot of times you're cutting the field in half field, reads. It's rare that with the protection, especially that he's had this season, it's rare that he's going to get through all of his progressions. That's what made the De'Ami Brown touchdown play so surprising, is that Sam was able to stand back there like it was practice. We haven't seen protection like that since Morgan Moses and Trent Williams were here. And Sam was like, De'Ami. Like, we don't get to see that. If it's there, though, I want him to hang in there. And he's already shown he's a tough guy. He's a tough hombre. I know he can stand in there and stare down the gun barrel and deliver a dime down the field. But you can't beat him up when he stands in there and unfortunately shit happens and a sack happens. You can't beat him down to the point where he's afraid to be a playmaker. Like, you saw why him being a playmaker is so important. Like, even when he fumbled, I'm like, bro, I don't want you to stop being aggressive as a runner, right? I don't want you trying to run guys over. I want you to slide when a slide is available. But on that particular play, he didn't do anything wrong. He tried to fall down. They held him up. Like, only thing I can tell him is try to hold on to the ball a little bit better. But even that was tough. They ripped it out. If you ran that same read option and you kept it, I'd tell you to do the exact same thing. Just try not to fumble the next time. Because if I tell him to get down, as soon as you get the first down, slide. You know what they're going to do? They're going to mark him short of the sticks. Because that's what they do to us. You know what's going to happen? Right? We won't get the 24-yard run on 3rd and 23 if you tell them, hey, you got to slide as soon as you see contact coming. Like, I don't want to take what makes Sam away from him? Checkdowns are a necessary evil. You need those, but that should be the last resort. That shouldn't be, oh, I'm panicking. Shit's open, but you told me to get rid of the ball, so I'm going to get rid of it. My first read's not open. I'm going to go straight to the check down. That's loser football. That's not who Sam is. Zach LaRoche, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Zach writes, with the way the defense is playing, there might be a new DeVito order in New York come Sunday evening. You're not wrong. I wouldn't doubt it. Nothing surprises me with this team anymore. I'm getting to that point of the season where, you know, I'm not saying that I'm jaded, because I'm not. I'm excited about Sam. I told you guys yesterday's episode, I'm so excited about the trajectory of this organization. I'm excited about what the future could hold if they get this right with the next, group that they bring in here, GM, coach, head coach, all of that good stuff. I'm excited about what this could be. I'm excited about Sam. I'm excited about this direction. I'm excited about the draft capital. I'm excited about the cap space. I'm excited about a lot of things. But I understand what this team is right now. I'm not oblivious to that. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy. Chris, double up. Thank you for doubling up. Thank you for your generosity as always. Truly do appreciate you. Hope all is well with you and yours. I don't know if I said that the first time, but saying it now, really do appreciate you, Chris. Who writes, hey, Lou. 3 thoughts about the O. 1, only averaging 2.8 more points per game than last year. While that may not seem like a lot, think about what 2.8 points would have meant to this team last year. That might have been the difference between the playoffs and not making the playoffs. But to your point, I get it. I get what you're saying. It's not that great of a difference. And when you think about it in that context, you know what really hurts that average, though? Seriously, Chris. It's the Giants game and it's the Bills game. You take those 2 games away, and we're averaging a lot more points per game, right? And I know it's easy to say, well, you can't do that. But, I mean, understand that we've scored over 30 points, 3 times this year? How many times did we do that last year? Once? We scored 26 this last week. What did we score against New England? 20. 24 against Atlanta, right? These are solid numbers. They're not earth-shattering by any stretch of the imagination, but I get it. I mean, if you take away the 2 stinkers at the in the Giants' first game and in the Buffalo game, that average goes up. It says 2, we struggle in 3rd down and short this season because we won't run the football. The reluctance to run, why, I don't know, whatever that is. Yeah. That sucks. That's it. We're getting better. I'll say that. We're getting better in that regard. Some of the plays they're calling in those situations, I like them. I don't love them because I would much rather just get under center and hand it off, but I like it. And I told you, I have to rewire my brain to realize this is who we are. So either you can get on board or you can keep bitching and complaining. It's not going to change. Number 3. Sorry. Finger got stuck. Until we get Terry and Jahan the ball consistently, the offense will struggle in parts of the game. Thoughts? I agree with your 3rd point the most. Not that I don't agree with the others, but I agree with number 3 the most. Because watching other teams, what you will find it's cool to spread the ball around, and Sam's doing that like nobody's business. Every week it feels like he's throwing to 9 or 10 different targets, right? But it's not dissimilar to basketball. What happens when you haven't scored in 6 minutes in the basket? Okay, just get the ball to your best player, move out of the way, one-on-one ISO ball, go get me a bucket, and if you can't get a bucket, get to the free throw line. Like, let's end this shit now. All right? When you're struggling on offense and you need a pick-me-up, just get the ball to a playmaker and let him go to work. It's not a coincidence that we, in our two biggest moments in the game, 3rd and 5, I think it was, and 4th and 1, we threw slants to Terry. Biggest moments of the game for Seattle, 4th and 5 and 3rd and 4. They threw slants to DK Metcalf. It's not rocket science, as I always like to tell you guys. I know Josh Dobbs may make it seem like it's rocket science, but it's not. Until we get those two guys the ball consistently, this offense isn't going to be what it's supposed to be. We won't be able to maximize what we have. Because Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, John Bates, Logan Thomas, Byron Pringle, Jamison Crowder, De'Ami Brown, those guys are cool, man. I'm not shitting on those dudes. But they're not Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, and Terry McLaurin. Which is why you need to get these guys more involved. Which is why you need to get these guys the football in space, moving forward, not, stationary targets at the line of scrimmage or running a 5-yard stop route with no momentum. I like these guys to catch the ball moving towards the opposition's end zone. Good things happen. I.e. the Terry slant against New England a week ago. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy JP writes, "What's up, Commander Lou? What's going on, JP? Good to see you as always. Likewise. How do you feel about drafting Bowers or Penn State DN Chop Robinson in the first round, then trading back into round 1 for an offensive lineman?" I don't know how I feel about anything draft related right now. I will tell you this. My theory on offensive tackles in particular, if you want a good one, you need to draft him inside the top 14 picks. Generally, the good tackles are usually gone by the 14th pick in the first round. Because as we all know, tackle is one of the hottest commodities in the draft every single year. And if it's a good tackle draft, they're going to go quick. This is going to be a good tackle draft, so they're going to go fast. Everybody always needs a tackle. There's very few teams that go into the draft saying, we're good. The Chiefs could use a tackle right now. Everybody can use a tackle. All right. At some point, the Eagles are going to have to replace Lane Johnson. I didn't realize this is year 11 for Lane Johnson. At some point, they're going to have to draft a tackle, right? You need tackles. So I think we're going to end up with 7 or 8 wins, which is going to put you probably outside of the 14th pick. I think we're going to end up being 15th or 16th like we always are. So at that point, if all the good tackle prospects are gone, which they probably will be, if history repeats itself, I want a blue chip player, whether that's a tight end, an edge rusher, whatever. We need to start getting as many great players as we can. No, gone should be the days of reaching for a need, i.e. Jamin Davis in the first round. Not smart. Get value. You can reach for a need in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. Anything day 3, that's when you start shopping for needs. But my first 2 days, I want game changers. And if they so happen to link up with the need, even better. Even better. But I'm not passing up on what I perceive to be elite talent. Not in the first round, not in the second round, not in the third round. Day 3, that's when I start looking at, all right, what do we need left? Okay. We need a linebacker. We need a return man. We need a receiver. We need another tight end. We need some interior offensive line help. We need a tackle. That's when you start scratching that shit off your list. I don't know. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know. I don't even know. We don't even know where everybody's going to be. It's hard to talk about that stuff right now. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Chris. All right. Hey, Lou. What's up, Chris? I realize that the playoffs are a prayer. However, I look at Dallas's schedule after Thanksgiving: Seattle, Philadelphia, at Buffalo, at Miami, Detroit, then us. We would have to win Thanksgiving game, though. Thoughts? Yeah, but Dallas is good, right? Like, they're going to beat Seattle. They might beat Philadelphia the second time. They should have beat them the first time. At Buffalo doesn't scare anybody. That doesn't strike fear in people's heart like it once did. At Miami, that could be tricky for Dallas, but if they can get to Tua, they could really disrupt him. Detroit, that'll be interesting. You know, they're not going to lose all of those games. They're probably going to win more of those games than they lose. Dallas isn't the one you should be looking at anyway. It should be like Minnesota, you know. Seattle was the team we were supposed to be looking at. Like, let me get your spot. We lost to them, though. You need a prayer. You need more than just a prayer. You need more than just a prayer to make the playoffs at this point. Because effectively losing in Seattle, you need help now. You got to rely on other people to do your dirty work for you. Now, in the case of a Seattle, you just mentioned they got Dallas left. They got 2 with San Francisco left, right? Including Thanksgiving night in Seattle. If they can't win that one, they're going to be in some trouble, because I don't think they're going to Santa Clara and beating them. They've got some tough games left on the schedule due to the Seattle Seahawks, right? If I'm not mistaken, they haven't played Philadelphia yet either, right? So they're going to lose some games, are the Seahawks. And we know that they start fast, but they fade a lot of times in the season. They did it last year. But it doesn't matter if we're not winning games, and our schedule is brutal. Brutal. And we haven't proven to be consistent at anything other than being inconsistent. So I don't even think prayer is going to save this team, or this season for that matter. 301 JI or 301 JI or G. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we got our young coach in Tavita already. I mean, that sounds good, right? That sounds good. I like that you have confidence in him. I'm not sure if Tavita's that guy or not. My hope was that EB would go in, wow everyone, including us as fans. He'd be the next guy at head coach, and then Tavita could step in as the offensive coordinator. Let me just say this, because the title of this video is, I hope Washington learns from Buffalo. I hope they're taking notes with what is transpiring with the Buffalo Bills right now, because this is exactly what I don't want to happen to us. You got a defensive-minded coach. And look, these dudes are rare. The ones that actually work, the ones that look like they got a pulse on what's going on, the Robert Salahs. And again, it's early for D'Amico Ryans in Houston, but, you know, he's off to a great start. Those guys are rare, okay? What you want, what you're aiming for, what you're striving for is Mike McDaniel in Miami. Sean McVay in LA with the Rams. You know, Sean Payton in New Orleans with Drew Brees once upon a time. Like, that's what you're aiming for. What you don't want is what the Bills have going on right now with Sean McDermott. Started off like gangbusters. Everything was all sweet. Everything was all good. And Brian Daboll is cooking up crack as your OC, and Josh Allen is thriving. We're talking about MVP. We're talking about multiple Super Bowls. Like, all of this shit is on the table. Windows wide ass open. It's such a breeze in a draft coming in. And then Dabo leaves and we shut that window. And shit's getting hot now. Y'all feel that? Shit. It's getting hot in here. So hot. So hot they fired the damn OC, Ken Dorsey. I don't want us to hire a defensive-minded coach like we just had in Ron Rivera. And then if you can't figure out the offensive coordinator position, you're screwed. But even if you do, that guy's going to get a job eventually. If he's really doing his job at a high level, you're screwed either way. It's only the defensive coordinators that stick around for 87 years. When's the last time you saw an offensive coordinator kicking ass every single year not get a job? Yeah, Dick LeBeau, and he's had he got jobs if you're old enough to know Dick LeBeau coached Cincinnati and all of that stuff. But Dick LeBeau was like, bro, I done did the head coaching thing. I'm good. Nobody's looking to hire me, and I'm not looking to leave. I'm cool with being your defensive coordinator for 12 years. You get one of these good retreads like a Leslie Frazier, they'll be a defensive coordinator for 8 to 10 years. They ain't going nowhere. And you're going to get quality, defense out of them. Steve Spagnuolo got his shot with the Rams. He's comfortable under Andy Reid, chilling like a villain. They got one of the best defensive coordinators in football, and he ain't looking to go nowhere. You can't do that shit on offense, though. This is why you want an offensive-minded head coach. So you don't have to put your quarterback through that foolishness, that nonsense. I hope they're taking notes. Because that's what's happening in Chicago right now. Got a defensive-minded coach. He's not really getting it done defensively. But the offensive coordinator, not too hot in Chicago. Brandon Staley, supposed to be this hot-shot defensive coordinator. He's supposed to be the Sean McVay of the defense. Not really happening in LA. And, oh, by the way, he struggled finding an offensive coordinator. Joe Lombardi wasn't it. You're better off getting you an offensive-minded dude like Zach Taylor. And I'm not saying I love Zach Taylor as a head coach, but I know he's going to make beautiful music with Joe Burrow for the next decade. I do know that. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. We'll see what Tavita is talking about. He might not be here next year. Let's just keep it a buck. New staff gets hired and Tavita might be gone. Zoe Life, no life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, I'm missing our ends, but not trading them would be like staying on a sinking ship. There are some intriguing head coaching openings. Who do you think we stack? Or how do you think, how do you think we stack? I'm biased. So this is a tough one for me to answer without being biased, but I think this is going to be the best one. I mean, we'll see what happens with Tennessee. I don't think they're going to do anything, but that's one to keep an eye on. Vegas is going to have an opening. They already do. New England's probably going to have an opening. That's doo-doo. We're going to have an opening. The Bears could have an opening, but they're not going to get rid of their GM, which is why I didn't include them in the whole Bill Belichick conversation, because Ryan Poles is there to stay. He just got there. He's done a great job of flipping picks and really stacking the deck in their favor. Now they just got to get the right guys in there, right? But Chicago probably has an opening. That one's intriguing because you probably will have the number 1 overall pick. If you're a coach and you love Caleb Williams, and that might be the most enticing job with all the draft capital that they have, and you got a number 1 receiver already, and they got all this stuff. The Bears are in a really good spot. That's an interesting one, right? The Chargers are going to be interesting because you got Justin Herbert, but They're cheap, so I'm thinking they may just promote your boy. That's the offensive coordinator right now from Dallas, Kellen Moore. But when it's all said and done, there'll be 6 or maybe 7 vacancies, and I think we'll be in the top 3, if not 2. The only one that I think might be a better destination than Washington is Chicago, because of all the draft capital that you have, including the number 1 pick, and you'll have probably 2 top 5 picks when it's all said and done, and you can get the best quarterback in the draft if you want. That's going to be pretty hard to pass up if Fields isn't, the future of that franchise. So, and just to reiterate this, I may talk about 90 and 99. I don't miss them. I don't miss them from the standpoint of we shouldn't have done it. I don't regret it at all. It was the right move, and I just want to make that abundantly clear. I may talk about them because in the context of what I'm explaining, it makes sense to bring them up. You have to. But I don't regret the trades at all. I do it over again 10 times out of 10. And I hope they go on to be excellent players in their new destinations and have ultimate success. It just wasn't going to happen here. Good to see Chase smiling. Did you see Chase dancing before the game? Right? See him dapping up Deebo Samuel and dancing. It's good to see Chase smiling again. He had lost the joy for the game. He wasn't happy. He's a happy guy. Glad he's happy again. Tez is appreciated, right? Got his money. He's doing interviews after not getting a sack, but getting 8 pressures. I love it. I love it. I wish them nothing but the best. We need the draft capital. We're going in a totally different direction than where those dudes are going. Deuce, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "Sub Lou, sub Deuce. There's rumors going around saying Josh Harris and the new ownership group are interested in trading for Bill Belichick. Please, no." I mean, we've talked about it already. Those rumors may be true. Those rumors may be true. Somebody sent me a message because I don't keep up with hockey. I don't watch hockey. I don't know nothing about hockey. But somebody's like, well, because I use the 76ers example. Somebody's like, well, if we go with the Jersey Devils example, that's exactly what he did. Was he went and got the winningest coach in NHL history, or one of the most winningest coaches, and brought him in and immediately changed the fortunes of the Devils franchise. I was like, well, goddamn, I don't want to hear that shit, because that sounds like what he's trying to do now. So we'll see. Look, we can fight it as much as we want. If that's what they decide to do, it'll feel like Groundhog's Day all over again. Another mistake, but we'll just have to rock with it. I hope they don't do that. I'm so excited. So are many of you. We're so excited about this whole GM search and, this coaching search that they're going to have, and all. We're really all in on this stuff. It would be a damper to literally just say, oh, don't worry about any of that. We are going to get Bill Belichick. And maybe that's why they acquired all the picks, so they could go get Bill Belichick. Wouldn't that be a bitch? If they went and got the 2nd and 3rd round picks to spice up a trade for Bill Belichick, wouldn't that be a sumbitch? You talk about fan base turning on Josh Harris quick. That would probably do it. I mean, there's a lot of people a lot of fans that want Bill Belichick. So it'd be a mix. But talk about turning on his ass. I think it happened rather quickly. Frankie, yo, thank you for the gifting the memberships. Really appreciate you. Blessing others, man. That's the gift that keeps on giving, by blessing others with memberships. Really can't begin to describe to you the thanks for being so generous. Thank you, Frankie, yo. C. Trill, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, What's up, Lou? TJ Hawkinson sound like a good pick in free agency. Nah, I'm good. How old is TJ Hawkinson? Feel like TJ probably he can't be no more than 28. I mean, I'm good because I feel like you can find a TJ Hawkinson in the draft and pay him next to nothing. Why you got to find that in free agency? You know? Let's see. TJ Hawkinson is 26 years old. He's actually pretty young. He'll be 27 though this summer in July. So he's not that far off from what I thought, but still relatively young. I'm good because I think he's going to command some good money on the free agent market. Tight end market has been depressed though, but if you're good and he's good, you're going to get paid. You know, I just would rather just find somebody, to be honest with you. I'm not looking to pay nobody out here in these streets. I'd rather just go out here and find me one of these young stallions in the draft somewhere. But, you know, we'll see. Anyway, they're going to have to spend that money somewhere. But we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We still got 7 games left. So we'll worry about, you know, all of that once we get a little bit closer. You can't ask me about the draft. You know how I am. You know how my brain's wired. You can't ask me about the draft. Like, once we're completely dead, like, you know, we lose the next 3 games. You lose to the Giants and it's over. But, I mean, you lose to the Giants. Okay, let's start talking draft. Let's start talking free agency. Let's start looking at all that shit. You lose to the Giants. You beat the Giants. There's at least 2 more weeks of, you know, playoff scenarios, right? Because even if you lose to Dallas, I told you the goal is to get to the bye at 6 and 7. There's still the Dolphins game. You lose to the Giants, and then it's over. It's done. You're not getting to the bye at 6 and 7 because you're not beating both Dallas and Miami. The goal was to not have to beat either one of them. The goal was to beat Seattle and the Giants, and then you would only be able to finish 6 and 7 at the very least. That was the goal. After, you know, the debacle on Thursday night versus the Bears and, you know, the ridiculous performance against the Giants, that was the goal. Was it just find a way to beat Seattle? You beat New England, you did it, check. Beat Seattle, didn't do it. Now you got to find a way to beat one or the other. You were trying to avoid having to do that. But anyway, to be actor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, if that happens, white flag, Bill rumors, shaking my effing head. If Bill happens, it'll feel like when Dan Snyder tried to hire what is the ex-head coach of the damn Giants? Jim Fossil. It'll feel like that when we revolted, and because like Bill Belichick's like 90 years old. Like what are we doing? Who wants that? I don't. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, sup, Lou? Sup, video channel. How would you feel about going after T. Higgins in free agency? I wouldn't be opposed to it. Again, what's his market? How much is he looking for? I mean, we got some free agent dollars coming up with Curtis Samuel. I wouldn't mind paying him some Curtis money, right? Obviously, the cap has gone up. The position has gone up. You're going to have – I just think T. Higgins thinks a lot more highly of himself than, you know, what he is probably going to be, what the reasonable price for him is going to be. I think he views himself as an upper echelon receiver, and the numbers sort of back that up. So I don't know if I'm willing to spend. You already spending on Terry. Like, I don't really know if I'm willing to do that. I think you got to be smart with your money. You know, I still think the value is in positions like linebacker. It doesn't cost you a lot to go get you a young linebacker that could play. Like, you understand the New Orleans Saints got Demario Davis in like a nothing burger trade with the Jets because they were disappointed in Demario Davis. Like, and he's like a linchpin of not only the team but the city. Like, I mean, I don't have to explain it. London Fletcher coming here, right? Like, you can find that in free agency at linebacker. Like, that's what I'm more interested in. I'm not looking to, and if you can find a center, like, that's not going to cost you a lot in free agency. Or guard, that's not going to cost you a whole hell of a lot. You find a young, good one. I'm willing to pay for some top-notch quality play. That center in particular, but we might already have that guy on the roster, which is why it sucks that he got hurt. I don't really know what I want to spend my money on, but here's what I can tell you. I'm going to be very diligent in what is available and what I'm willing to spend and what I'm willing to spend it on. I'm not going to go out here like, a dude that ain't never had money before with all of this, with all of these stores and opportunities and just lose my damn mind and just start spending lavishly. That's not what I'm going to do if I'm Washington. I'm going to go out here. First of all, I'm going to take care of guys that are here that need to be taken care of. And I'm also going to account for Sam being a guy that I got to take care of next year. And so all of these things have to be taken into consideration, I think. But again, Higgins isn't a bad one. Like, that's one to consider, but I just think he's gonna be a bit pricey. Just because I got it don't mean I got to spend it, if that makes sense. Jamal Hamlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jamal, thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, "Hey, Lou. What's up, Jamal? Hope all is well. Likewise. I know this is a stretch, but when I saw B-Rob catching and bulldozing, he gave me Debo vibes. LOL. But do we need a bully ball wide receiver? Do you have any on your radar, NHO?" I don't know if I just think we need a big receiver. I don't know if we necessarily need a bully ball receiver. We just need a guy with some size. That's why T. Higgins is a bit appealing to me. And I would think about it if the price is right, because we just need a guy with some size, I talked about this in the offseason. All of our receivers are of the same size, build, stature, et cetera, et cetera. The only guy that doesn't kind of fit into that mold that was here was Cam Sims, and obviously he's not here anymore. So that's why the tight ends are so important, because they're the only ones with size. We don't have any receivers that you can just throw the ball up to in a 50-50 situation and say, go get it for me. Zoe Life, No Life, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, "I believe Sam is thriving with clear flaws roster and scheme wise. I have no regret moving on from EB regardless of what could be. This isn't the same Haskins situation where we don't know what he is." I agree with pretty much everything you said. He's thriving with a roster that clearly has flaws. And that's not just from a roster standpoint, but also, as you mentioned, a scheme standpoint. They're literally asking Sam to throw it 40 plus times every week. No matter what the score is, like that should never be the case. I'll just tell you that this Haskins, the Haskins situation, we weren't sure. We were trying to be positive with the situation that a lot of us never wanted. This It's totally different. Night and day different. Night and day different. The only difference is how people received Haskins. People were ready to crown Haskins because he was a first-round pick. We still got people treating Sam Howell like he's some kind of backup fodder in the league. It's a lot of people still trying to treat him like he's Josh Dobbs or some shit. It's crazy. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Commanders Nightly News Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow, where we will go behind enemy lines against the Giants in Week 11. Yay. I just know we better win this game. I just know that. I might talk all this shit about, I'm not excited, and I'm not looking forward to this game. But come 1:05 on Sunday afternoon, I'll be right in front of my monitor, ready to go, ready for us to go out and beat the brakes off these boys. And if we don't do that, I'm going to be very disappointed. So, anyway, I digress. You guys, get out of here. See you guys next time. I appreciate y'all kicking it with the kid. If you haven't already done so, hit the like button on the way out. Can't thank you guys enough. Till then, you guys, have a good one. God bless and good night.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20.